What's up, y'all? It's Alex from Psychedelics Visions signing in here, and I'm back. And today, I'm going to talk about something that is more on the philosophical side because that's just all I've been thinking about lately. Been going through this existential crisis, basically, and I'm going to give an intro on where I've been and what I've been experiencing and why I've been gone for so long. And I know that there's quite a few new subs on this channel, and that you may be more familiar with Will because he's been uploading more often. But I'm back now, and I'm just gonna start off with what's been going on. So, last couple months, I haven't been feeling great in the head, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, and I've been in the process of moving, and I was really stressed out at first because of the anticipation of it. Because my mom lost her job, and my mom and dad were going through a divorce, and I was going to have to live in my dad's living room with really no privacy, no real home. And it was something that was just making me uncomfortable inside. And I didn't want to do it. The anticipation was killing me. And then somehow, some way, last week, my mom ended up finding a place for just her and I. Because for a couple months, she was just going to take a break and live with my grandparents. And, I was okay with her pursuing what she was doing, but at the same time, I was still kind of whining about it because I didn't really want to be stuck with my dad like that. And I didn't really mind being with my dad so much. It was just the fact that I didn't have my own room. And I just felt like I was going to be on the move all the time, just trying to avoid having to come back to his place, because I felt like I was not going to have any real home. And in a way, I was being ungrateful. And I ended up jumping into the dark side. And for the longest time, I kept questioning, why am I here? Why am I feeling like this? I thought it was just another case of situational depression. But then I started exploring this a little bit more, this empty feeling I had within me just this last week or so, which is why I'm finally now recording a video. And I took so many other videos, made so many other videos before this one for different things and on different days, of course, but none of them I just felt like were the right video. And maybe this one's it. So we'll see. Anyways, I kind of have some questions I want to answer here. And I'm just going to keep talking about them and keep going in detail, put some timestamps on them, and here we go. So one thing I want to answer is, how has emptiness led me down to the dark side, and how I've been trying to find a positive from it. So like I said, I've been empty for a while, but now I'm starting to find a substance, almost like somewhat of a meaning to what I've been feeling. You think of emptiness as almost something that's nothing, like it's just a feeling of nothingness, no sense of purpose. But somehow I'm able to find a substance out of it, and I'm able to use that substance and apply it to my YouTube channel here. Because maybe there's something that I want to try that's different, that I need to get out of my comfort zone. I need to philosophize about something that'll help me think more critically and not be so attached to so many things, and allow my viewers here to actually think critically for themselves as well. And that's really all I had to say about that, to be honest. So the third thing I wanted to talk about here, does anything really exist? And do we have free will? And I'm going to relate this to our ideas of luck and coincidence and destiny and things like that. Lately, I've been trying to have conversations with some of my friends about some of these topics that we deem as spiritual. And I'm going to go over more on the spiritual aspect later in this video. But first, I kind of want to talk about just existence itself. How do we really know what we're experiencing is real? Okay. We don't. we really don't. You know, we like to pretend that we know what's going on, and which is why people make different choices and act like they want to be in control of different things. And I just finished watching a video from Northwood Shaman, if you guys want to check him out, talking about if we really make choices, if maybe outcomes are predetermined, which, you know, I can't believe with 100% certainty, but I am kind of favoring his perspective a bit, for sure. But at the same time, it almost seemed ironic because I also wanted to talk about destiny and how destiny, people believe in these things that are meant to be almost. Are things really meant to be, or does everything just happen by coincidence? Which brings me to a real life application of me, my mom scoring this house and having a string of good luck with this house and a new job and little things like that. Does good and bad luck come from coincidence, or is it magic, almost like universal magic that people like to think of it as? You know, we like to assign a purpose to all these different things, or assign a meaning to everything to make us kind of feel good about living our lives and putting blind faith into something we don't even understand, or we can't even conceptualize in our heads, or can't even comprehend the full meaning or extent of it. And that goes with anything in the universe. I can't sit up here and say that I know anything, which is why I've been having this weird breakdown of reality that I've been going through lately. Like, what am I really experiencing? What do I really believe in? Which leads me to how and why I've stopped believing in anything. Now, I don't believe in anything 100% now. I actually kind of want to take the time now to start listening to other people's perspectives on anything else. It doesn't have to be religious, it doesn't have to be spiritual, just anything in general. It could be something even political, because I understand where people are coming from, genuinely. You know, obviously I may have a different opinion or outlook than somebody else, but I can understand what they view based off how they grew up or where they've come from. You know, we all go through different things, but we're also still one and the same. And we can't keep bashing on each other for thinking different things than another person, or having a dissenting opinion to the main common opinion of what most of the population thinks about one subject. And when it comes to spirituality, I'm just wondering if anything I ever really believed in is even true at all. You know, it's like me focusing on something and pretending that it's the truth, and me wanting to believe it's the truth, but you know, really it's ignorance. There's a good little while where I made a couple videos asking, like, am I an old soul, or am I meant to be here? Am I a light worker? Am I here with the purpose? You know, those are all like spiritual beliefs that I had, thinking like, dude, I'm definitely down here to help people and do all these things. But in reality, I'm still working kind of with like this dark side, where I'm within this ignorance, where I'm using ignorance kind of to justify me having this purpose out of ignorance, because I don't know anything that's going on. I just want to pretend that I know that this is what I'm meant for, when in reality, I don't really know, to be honest. And I was just pretending. It was almost like I was acting, and I haven't actually been meditating for months, to be honest. And the more that I think about it, do I even really want to meditate? Not really. Do I need to meditate? No. Something like this, where I'm free talking on YouTube or on a video on a camera, I'm kind of just talking myself in my own space, in my own time. And now I'm actually suddenly aware of the fact that I was just talking in the present moment, feeling like I was actually experiencing the present moment. And now being aware of that makes me realize I'm not really talking in the present moment anymore. I'm more focused on what I'm saying in my words. So there's more. Next thing I want to talk about is there a really purpose to anything? I was just already talking about this. I want to think that I have a purpose, that, you know, the reason that I'm going to college and getting this college paid for by Starbucks and everything is because it was just meant to happen, you know? Like I'd like to think that I'm maybe meant to go to certain places, or I'm meant to do certain things in order to help certain people. But what if this is just all a reality game, and we're just really just living in this simulation, and we're just doing whatever the hell the universe just wants us to do, you know? It does seem like I'm contradicting myself in a way, but at the same time, it's just things you have to think about, really. Like what do you want to kind of favor almost when it comes to believing something? You can't sit up there and tell yourself that you 100% believe in a certain thing that is the truth. You can't bash on other people for having something completely different that they believe in than you, because what if they are actually right? You know, who knows? Maybe you're right for believing in something, but when it comes to something that can't really be proved, especially in regards to the inexplainable, then you can't latch on to that belief too much, because then you're just using your ego to identify with something that you can't explain. You're using your logical mind in order to justify the way things are. But none of us really know how things really are. And to go back to what I was talking about, purpose, I like to think that I'm going to be this health and wellness coach who's coaching people and doing these different things. But what if I actually go down some totally different route than I ever even thought I would go down towards? Well, if things are actually predetermined, what if everything is destiny and I'm just meant to do whatever comes by? I'm just trying to basically predict the future, which is almost like an unhealthy habit that I've had for a long time. It's just looking too far forward in the future and just thinking about what I might be doing 1 or 2 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 20 years from now. We don't even know what we're going to do a month from now, let alone maybe even a week from now, because things happen and things get in the way. You just kind of have to try your best to live in more of a flow state. And when it comes to trying to find a purpose, what if there is no purpose to anything at all? And I know that is a depressing notion. It seems like a depressing notion at first glance, but I don't like to look at it in that way. I feel like if you look at that in a more positive way, you can actually just take that to your own motivation and make the most of what you have in this life, which is what I'm going to do. Earth is a great place. There's so many things that I can get my hands on to just help me feel nice, you know? I could go out and, you know, just eat healthy and do different things that make me feel good, or I could eat like shit but still feel good, but then feel like shit later on. I could do many different things. Maybe we do have the choice to do different things, but maybe the outcome is always fixed, like Northwood Shaman was saying. And that there really is no purpose in anything, because we're just so insignificant to everything else that we don't even comprehend the infinite possibilities that there may be to everything. So I'm going to move on from that. Just think more about that maybe, and I'm just going to move on to the next subject. The spiritual ambiguity. So spirituality is ambiguous. It can't really be defined. Spirituality may mean one thing from one person to another, and so on. And to me, for the longest time, I was convinced that I went through this spiritual awakening, that I was just breaking down all these barriers I had, which is true, which I believe is true to an extent. But these barriers, breaking down these barriers, allow you to be very susceptible to other belief systems and faith systems that make you attached to these systems that convince you to believe that it's the truth. And you can't ever be 100% certain something is the truth, because at that point, does that really even make you spiritual anymore? That you're not really open to other perspectives or other people and what they believe in? And this goes for any religion, any type of faith-based thought at all, that there's some people out there that aren't open-minded. And obviously there's great people who are open-minded in every religion, most likely, I would say, but there's still a good amount of people that aren't. It just depends on who it is. And spirituality and religion is all ambiguous. Like, what do you believe in? Do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? Does God even exist? Is there even a higher power to anything? Are we controlled by something else? Or are we just going about our business randomly in the endless possibilities of the universe? I mean, they're just questions to think about, and it's kind of cool to think about it in a way, and I like being able to philosophize more about it, just be able to sit here and allow myself to think more in detail and kind of accept the fact that maybe nothing is ever going to be the way I want it to be. You can't control everything, seriously. Anyways, I wanted to move on to another topic, which would be how ignorance evokes faith and belief, which is what I'm probably going to put in the video title. So that is something that I was already kind of talking about, like I have been with previous subjects, where our ignorance to the unknowing basically evokes our faith and belief to think that there's other things out there that have a meaning, or how do I say it? Basically, for my own personal experience, when I went through a spiritual awakening, I ended up latching on to different beliefs, which brought me down this whole conspiracy craze. And those beliefs made me think like, wow, that makes sense as to why I'm experiencing this or why these things are happening. And I started believing it so much to the point where I felt like it was almost like cult-like behavior. And it's very easy to be trapped in that mindset for basically any set of beliefs, because it usually starts when you're listening to somebody else that you kind of view as almost like an authority figure that you respect and look up to, and you think what they're preaching is the truth, but it could be dangerous. Try not to look up to anybody. And obviously, you're going to look up to certain people in your life. Maybe you have a family member or just anybody in general, but really take the time to think about someone else that is preaching things that you may believe in that you can't prove with 100% certainty. Think about more in depth of like, what are they saying? Is what they're saying actually true? And just take everything with a grain of salt and try not to attach yourself too much to certain beliefs. This brings me to, is there a truth to anything? And I don't personally think that there is a truth to anything, which might just be me trying to say that I know the truth about the truth. See how far it goes? See, I can't be completely certain that I know the truth about the truth of the truth. And I know that doesn't even make any sense, which it doesn't to me either, but it's just questions that you have to ask yourself. Do you think you know the truth to something? And if you do, then are you attaching yourself to that truth? Are you allowing yourself to be too consumed by this so-called perceived truth? Because we all perceive everything differently. We've all been to different places. We've all come from different places. We are one and the same, but we all have our own individual journey, which is what makes us and what causes us to have an ego. And I don't necessarily think of the ego as a bad thing, but a lot of times it's very easy to have it become a bad thing. It is necessary almost for being able to survive out in the real world in certain situations, but not all the time, and people use it almost to fulfill their own sense of belonging socially. They want to have this social responsibility, and they also want people to tell them what to do. They want to be directed, but they still want to be in control of things that they're not in control of. And I mean, overall, do we really even exist? I mean, I'm living right now, I'm talking, and I'm questioning these things, but I mean, what really is existence? Is there any purpose to anything at all? You know, I'm talking this video, and in the past I thought like, oh, because I'm talking on YouTube, I'm serving a purpose, I'm helping other people. And maybe I did help other people, but am I meant to help other people? Or is that something that I'm trying to do to make myself feel good about myself? Is that what we're all trying to do? Because we all feel things. Maybe some people don't feel things. But there's a reasoning behind many things. But what if there isn't a reasoning behind many things? You just never know. I mean, people are all born differently. People all have different personalities, and people are all attracted to many different things. And there could be a reason to that. And I really don't blame anybody at all for believing in something hardcore, but if you're believing in something really hardcore, you just really have to take the time to think about whether or not you're believing in it so much that it's just consuming you. It's almost bringing you down, it's dragging you down like a weight. Because a lot of times when we get too involved with a certain belief, then it drags us down. It makes us feel like we're doing good. It makes us feel like we're just these omnipotent people who just know the truth. But after a while, it kind of takes its toll, and then you start experiencing burnout. Because a lot of us are empaths, and we're just trying to do as much good as possible. But the whole line between good and bad is something that's hard to differentiate between, which is something for another video that I'm going to talk about. I mean, do we really know what good and bad is? We all have those ideas of what good and bad are. I mean, it's easy to put faith into something. It's just a way for us to explain everything. And one thing that I was trying to actually mention earlier is that I'm not sure if I want to do psychedelics for a long time or not, because maybe I got everything out of it I needed to, and it's almost like every single time I kind of expect something to bounce forward from it that I expect to integrate. But maybe the truth is I never really learned anything from psychedelics. Maybe it was me just using that as an excuse to actually finally go within and find something for myself to work on, which is what I'm doing now. And you know, maybe psychedelics were beneficial for me. Maybe they weren't. But it's just something to question for yourself, is that if you're someone who watches us because we talk about psychedelics and our shroom strips and stuff, just think like, why did you use psychedelics in the first place? What's the point of psychedelics? Do psychedelics have any purpose? Just little things to think about. And maybe the psychedelics didn't serve any purpose for me. Maybe they did, but I did them at one point in my life, and I am a different person now, and that's all I can say. Is there a positive correlation between that? Maybe. Maybe not. But I'm here, and I'm talking about psychedelics right now. And like I said at the beginning of the video, ever since my shrooms trip, I haven't really been feeling right. And I don't know if I actually gave context to that, but I tripped with Will and our other friend, and it was a beautiful experience and everything. But ever since that experience, I almost felt like I didn't want to go back to my reality because I felt like I was experiencing burnout from working at Starbucks so often, because it just almost felt like the complete antithesis of what I was trying to do with my life. But then I'm wondering, what am I really trying to do with my life? Because I've experienced such a lack of motivation that I haven't done anything productive whatsoever. I definitely feel different than I did a couple months ago when I thought I was coping with everything really well with school and work, and I felt like I was being able to balance different things, and everything just came crashing down on me. And maybe in a way that was meant to humble me. And maybe that shrooms trip that I just did most recently did serve a purpose in some way. Maybe it did, where it kind of just humbled me and showed me that there is a dark side that I need to address, that I need to kind of dive a little bit deeper into this dark side and find some type of light out of it. But I can't believe that there was a purpose to it with 100% certainty, which is kind of the point I've been trying to make this entire time, was that you can't believe anything with 100% certainty. All you can do is just question things and just allow yourself to sit down and be in peace with the fact that you can't know everything. And I mean, that's really all I had to talk about, because I've been talking about the same things kind of over and over in like different ways. But I'm sure you guys understand what I'm saying, and I'm glad to be back. And I really hope, if you made it to the end, I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, because I enjoyed making it. And I want to make more videos just like this, just talking about different things that we perceive and different aspects of reality and how that plays into everything. So Alex from PSYCHONAUT Visions signing out.